Have you ever felt that something's not quite right in your relationship, but you can't pinpoint exactly what it is, that slight change in her behavior, those increasingly longer absences, that strange feeling in your stomach that just won't go away? If you've wondered, welcome. Whether your partner might be seeing someone else, this video will help clear up those doubts. Imagine this. You've been in a relationship for years. Things are going well, or so you think. Suddenly, she starts spending more time away from homework, seems to consume her entirely, but something doesn't add up. One day while she's in the shower, you notice her phone blinking on the table, and there it is, that discomfort, that curiosity that starts creeping into your mind. Is it just work, or is there something more? Today, we're going to talk about the clearest signs that your partner might be cheating on you based on studies and expert observations. Sometimes what seems like a simple suspicion could have a deeper meaning. I'll guide you through those little details that might be slipping by unnoticed, but are key to discovering the truth. My name is Celia, and if this is your first time on my channel, I invite you to subscribe and hit the notification bell. You won't want to miss any of the topics we're about to uncover. Let's get started. Number 1. Longer absences. One of the first signs you might notice when a woman is cheating on you is that out of nowhere, she starts disappearing. Extra hours at work, outings. She starts disappearing with friends she never mentioned before, or business trips that didn't exist until now, and you're left wondering, where did all this come from? This isn't just a sudden change by pure coincidence. If she's suddenly spending more time away from home, it's likely she's looking for that space to be with someone else. What's important here is to observe if those absences come with constant excuses. "I have a meeting," or "I had to stay late today," are phrases that may sound innocent, but could be hiding much more than you think. And if you try to surprise her, like showing up at her work at the end of the day, and you notice she gets defensive, there's your clue. Why react that way if there's nothing to hide? Another key detail is that if she's seeing someone else, it becomes harder for her to balance her time between you and that other person. So what happens is that the outings become more frequent, and you end up taking a back seat waiting. But don't fool yourself if she's emotional and physical distance no longer making time for you. She's probably making time for someone else at this point. It's not just about her saying she's busy, but about how she acts. When you suggest something, does she reject plans or change them at the last minute? When the dates you used to have, the weekends together, or even simple dinners at home start disappearing, it's because something is taking up her time and mind, and it might not be you. So if you notice this sign, that her absences are becoming more frequent and less explained, it's time to pay attention. Something isn't right. Number 2, emotional and physical distance. When a woman is seeing another man, one of the most obvious changes is the distance she starts putting between you. That connection that once felt natural, the intimate conversations, the touches, the moments of closeness, all of that begins to fade away, and it's no coincidence if she's investing her emotional and physical energy into someone else. She will inevitably pull away from you first. You'll notice the physical contact decreases. She no longer seeks you out for hugs. Touches are rare, and sex, well, it practically becomes a distant memory. This isn't just about a routine cooling things off, it's a much deeper disconnection. If she's getting physical satisfaction elsewhere, her interest in sharing that intimacy with you fades, and emotionally, the conversations become shallow, as if she suddenly doesn't want to dive into anything important with you. What used to be long talks about dreams, plans, or even the day-to-day problems are now reduced to monosyllables or evasive answers. It's as if she suddenly puts up a wall between you, and that wall, in many cases, reflects guilt. She knows she's hiding something, and so she'd rather not expose herself or get too close. Another thing to notice is if she starts avoiding the quality time you used to share. She no longer wants to watch a movie together, prefers to go to bed early, or makes excuses to avoid spending time alone with you. Physical and emotional distance is a strong indicator that something is happening outside the relationship. What you need to understand. She hides with her phone is that cheating isn't just about what happens when you're not around. The real impact is seen in how everything changes when you are together. If she no longer shows interest in connecting with you emotionally or physically, it's probably because she's getting that connection from someone else. Pay attention, because distance doesn't just appear out of nowhere, it always has a reason behind it. Number 3, she hides with her phone. The phone has become one of the main tools for maintaining an affair. If you notice that your partner starts being overly secretive with her phone, this can be a clear sign that something's not right. Maybe before she left her phone on the table without a care, but now she takes it with her everywhere, even to the bathroom. Or worse, if she leaves it out, it's always face down or locked. Have you tried touching it? Only for her to quickly come up with an excuse or get defensive? That reaction isn't something to overlook. Flirty messages, suggestive photos, or even conversations she shouldn't be having with someone else are easier to hide nowadays. If she's constantly checking her phone, smiling at something she reads, but not sharing what it is, or even leaving the room to respond to messages or calls, it's a sign she's hiding something. It might not just be an innocent conversation, and you, knowing her well, will surely notice if this behavior is different from before. Pay attention to changes and how she handles her social media. Has she started blocking you from certain stories or posts? Has she suddenly gained new strange followers? Or are there comments that make you raise an eyebrow? These little details could be telling you that someone else is in the picture. Technology connects us, but it also makes it easier to hide things. If you see that her phone has become off limits, it's time to ask yourself what's happening that she doesn't want you to see. Number 4, a new glow in her behavior. Have you noticed lately that she's in a better mood, more enthusiastic, as if she's floating on a cloud? And the strange part is it doesn't seem to be related to anything the two of you are experiencing together. Unexpected happiness. If your partner suddenly starts showing an unexplained happiness, especially when things aren't going well between you, it might be because she's found a new source of excitement, and it's not you. When a woman starts something new with someone else, it's common for her energy to change. The adrenaline of a new adventure, the thrill of the forbidden. All of this can manifest in her daily behavior. Suddenly she seems more upbeat, smiles more, takes extra care when getting ready to go out, and even sings while dressing. It's not that she can't be in a good mood on her own, but if this shift in attitude doesn't align with the current state of your relationship, it's time to ask yourself where this extra happiness is coming from. What's curious is that many times this glow appears even when things between you aren't going well. Just when you should be discussing problems, distance, or crises, she seems to be in her own world of happiness. And that, my friend, is a sign. No one becomes that happy out of nowhere when there are tensions in the relationship, unless there's a third person bringing in that new and exciting energy. This new glow can be an emotional reaction to the adventure she's experiencing, the novelty, the intrigue, the mystery. All of this makes her feel alive in a way she may not have felt with you. For a while, it's not a sign you should ignore sudden, unexplained happiness, especially when it doesn't seem to be connected to what the two of you are sharing. Could be a reflection of something brewing elsewhere with someone else. If you're enjoying the video so far and feel like you're learning something new, don't forget to subscribe and hit the thumbs up button to support this content. I recommend staying until the end, because the most revealing part is still to come for those who are truly committed to understanding the signs and strengthening their relationships. I have a final reflection that you won't expect, and it could make a big difference. Change in scent. And tell me, where are you tuning in from? I'd love to know. Let's continue. Number 5, change in scent. It might sound strange, but smell is one of the most powerful senses when it comes to noticing changes in a relationship. If your partner suddenly smells different, it could be more than just a new perfume or a quick shower outside of home. A person's scent can reveal a lot about where they've been and with whom. One of the first might be that she starts using a new perfume, one you've never smelled before, and when you ask her about it, she gives vague answers or says she just felt like changing. But if this new scent appears out of the blue without any prior mention or discussion, it might be a sign she's trying to impress someone else. The opposite can also happen. You notice that when she comes back from somewhere, she smells like another perfume that isn't hers. She might tell you she was at a meeting or hugged someone she knows, but if these kinds of changes are frequent, it's time to pay attention. And it's not just about the perfume. If she starts coming home and immediately takes a shower or changes her clothes as soon as she walks in, that can also be a sign that she's hiding something. It's as if she's trying to erase any trace of where or with whom she's been. Body odor. The scent of her skin can also be revealing. A person's body changes when they've been close to someone else for a while, whether from hugging, touching in, or something more intimate. If you sense something different and there's no logical explanation, it's time to start putting the pieces of the puzzle together. This isn't just a matter of paranoia. Studies show that people are incredibly sensitive to changes in the scent of those around them. If you notice something different, something that doesn't fit, your intuition might be picking up on a signal that goes beyond words, and that new smell might not be as innocent as it seems. Number 66, strange activity on social media. Social media is a playground for modern infidelities. If you've noticed changes in how your partner interacts on these platforms, you might be looking at an important sign that something's not right. Suddenly she's more active than ever, posting more suggestive photos or paying extra attention to certain new followers. Maybe she barely used social media before, but now she's constantly checking notifications, replying to messages, or even hiding her activity. A clear sign is when she starts interacting suspiciously with someone in particular. Lots of likes, more personal comments, or even private jokes that seem to have more behind them than they show. And if you catch her deleting or hiding these interactions, it's almost certain that she's trying to keep something out of your sight. Another red flag is when you realize she's limiting your access to her social media. Suddenly, you can't see certain stories or posts, or she's restricted your access to her profile without any clear explanation. If you notice that she's sharing more with other people while leaving you out, that's no coincidence. And if you ask her about it and she gets defensive or says it's no big deal, it's time to lay the cards on the table. It's also important to notice if she's suddenly chatting more than usual and always keeping her phone close, if her social media is active late at night or at times when she didn't used to pay much attention. She could be dedicated that extra time to someone else. And if she gets annoyed when you ask who she's talking to or makes a big effort to hide it, you already know something's off. Social media can be the perfect place to keep hidden relationships, and if you see suspicious activity, don't ignore it. Pay attention to those small changes, because they could be telling you more than she's willing to admit. Number 7, change in language. Have you noticed that lately she's been using phrases or expressions you've never heard from her before? This change in how she speaks in how she speaks in the words she chooses can be a clear sign that someone new is influencing her life. When a person spends a lot of time with someone else, especially in an intimate or emotional relationship, it's natural for them to start adopting their way of speaking, their expressions, even their tone. Suddenly she might start using terms that weren't part of her usual vocabulary, phrases that seem to come out of nowhere, references you don't understand, or even inside jokes she doesn't share with you. These kinds of changes may seem small, but they are signs that she's spending time with someone else who is influencing the way she expresses herself. Language is a reflection of the connections we make, and if she's picking up words or ways of speaking that don't include you, they may be coming from a new relationship. This change can also be noticed in how she talks to you. If you used to have a close and familiar way of speaking to each other, but now she sounds more distant or uses a colder tone. Something has shifted. Maybe the affectionate words she used to say now sound forced or worse. Yet she stopped using them altogether. Emotional language also transforms when someone is disconnecting from a relationship, and that shows in the little details. If you start noticing these changes in her language, don't overlook them. Ask yourself where these new words or expressions might be coming from, because often what seems like a simple shift in how she talks can reflect someone else entering her life and taking up space that was once yours. Number 8. New hobbies without explanation out of nowhere. She seems to have discovered a new passion that never interested her before, a sport, an activity, or maybe a hobby completely unrelated to her previous interests. While it's normal for people to develop new interests, what you need to pay attention to is whether these hobbies come without a clear explanation or seem to appear out of thin air. Why is she suddenly fascinated by yoga or hiking when she never showed any interest before? Why is she spending so much time in those cooking classes she suddenly loves? If these new hobbies don't have an obvious origin, like a prior conversation between you two, a shared plan, or something she mentioned to you, it might be that she's trying to connect with someone else. People often adapt their interests to align with those of a new relationship, wanting to impress or spend more time with that other person. That hobby isn't just an activity. It could be an excuse to get closer to someone with whom she shares more than just an interest. Another sign is if she starts dedicating a lot of time to these new interests, to the point where she's neglecting activities you used to enjoy together. Maybe you used to share certain moments, but now she has recurring plans that always seem to exclude you, and if you ask to join her or show, she stops sharing personal things, interest in her new hobby, but she responds with evasions or excuses to keep you from participating. It's a clear sign that something else might be happening behind that sudden passion. New interests can be a way to deepen a connection with someone else. It's not just the activity that changes, but the time she invests in it and the barriers she starts putting up to keep you from being part of it. If you notice this behavior, it might be time to ask yourself whether those new hobbies are truly just pastimes, or if something more is at play. Number 9, she stops sharing personal things. Before, you used to talk about everything you shared: fears, desires, future plans, and even the most trivial things from day to day. But now you feel like those deep conversations have disappeared. Your partner no longer tells you about her problems, doesn't talk about her concerns, and what once seemed like an open and honest relationship has now turned superficial. This change doesn't happen overnight, but when a woman starts to emotionally disconnect, it's often a sign that she's sharing those intimate aspects with someone else. The issue is that when someone begins to open up emotionally to another person, the need to do so with their partner decreases. You might feel like you're being left out of her life, not knowing what's going on in her head or how she really feels. That emotional barrier she's putting up is a sign that her attention and trust might be directed towards someone else. Additionally, if you try to ask her what's wrong or why she's so quiet, and her response is evasive, or she tells you everything's fine, it's likely she doesn't want you to know who she's really confiding in. This type of emotional distance isn't just a lack of communication, it's an indication that something is changing in the dynamics of the relationship. Healthy relationships are built on openness and sharing. If you lack of couple plans, notice that this essential part has faded. It's time to pay attention, because when someone stops sharing intimate aspects of their life, it's usually because they found someone else to do it with. Don't ignore this change. It may reflect a deeper emotional disconnection and perhaps infidelity. Number 10, lack of couple plans. If you notice that plans as a couple are starting to disappear, this can be a clear sign that something's wrong. Used to enjoy dinners, weekend getaways, or simply spending time together at home, but now those moments are becoming increasingly rare. Suddenly, she always seems to be busy or has commitments that don't include you. If your suggestions to do things together are met with vague excuses, or she tells you she prefers to make plans on her own, it's time to question what's going on. The most concerning part is when activities that were once important for you as a couple, like celebrating anniversaries, going out for dinner, or spending quality time, take a back seat, or simply don't happen anymore if there's no longer an intention to share a special moments or create new memories together. It could be because she's found someone else with whom she wants to spend that time. Another clue is when, instead of suggesting things for you to do together, she opts to spend time with friends or in activities that don't involve you as a couple. Maybe suddenly she prefers to go out alone more often, and if she would have invited you before, for now, she avoids it. This isn't just a sign of distancing, but also a potential indicator that she's dedicating that time to someone else. The lack of couple plans is more than just a sign that something's off. It's an indication that the relationship is losing that essential connection when someone stops wanting to spend time with you. It's likely that they're investing that emotional and physical time in another relationship. When it comes to relationships, trust and connection are the foundation of everything. The signs we've covered today should not be taken lightly, but they also shouldn't be a reason for paranoia. Sometimes what we feel as a loss of connection is simply a wake-up call to reflect on the state of our relationship. And while discovering infidelity can be painful, it's also an opportunity for personal growth and to make decisions that lead us to a fuller, more authentic life. It's important to remember that if something doesn't feel right, the one wisest thing to do is have an honest conversation. No matter how difficult it may be, speaking from the heart, openly and without fear, can be the first step toward understanding what's really happening. The answer might not be what you're hoping for, but the truth is always better than living with doubts. These kinds of topics teach us something fundamental: the importance of taking care of our relationships, of not taking for granted the time and space we share with the people we love. Every small gesture, every moment of attention helps build a solid relationship. And of course, it's always worth remembering that improving our relationship starts with improving ourselves. My name is Celia, and I want this to be a place of wisdom where we can talk about these important topics openly, but always with respect. I want us to find ways together to improve our quality of life, not just in the intimate aspects, but in everything we do, because in the end, every small change we make within ourselves reflects in our relationships and our well-being. If this is your first time on the channel, I invite you to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of the upcoming topics we'll be discussing. And if you've made it this far, it means you take your personal growth seriously, and that deserves recognition. So to know who's committed and made it to the end, comment the phrase "I love wisdom" and tell me where you're listening from. I'd love to know what country you're connected from. I'd love to read your comments and see who's with me on this journey of self-discovery. And don't leave without sharing this video with your loved ones. There may be someone in your life who needs to hear these words today and find a new perspective. Sometimes a small piece of advice can make a big difference. I'll see you in the next video.